creator of the NRC brand, gives his insight and thoughts on the world of comic books, gaming, tech, and media industries as the host of Neo Reality Collective. Experience a slew of regular episodes covering news and pop culture, along with reviews and editorial pieces showcasing the best and worst of our ever-expanding multimedia world.
Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast of Neo Reality Collective. I'm your host, Eric Brown, and okay, I'm not going to give any more reasons on this. It's been touch and go on that. Let's see. Oh, God. So, a while back, I made a video and released it with a help an editorial payment I had to do. I did the I'm not ready to say goodbye to Krakoa just yet, and yeah, still on that opinion. And there is now a new initiative going on at Marvel with X-Men from the Ashes that will take place after the events of Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of 10, and I'm not interested. Yeah, I'm not interested in this. Like, the talent on board is pretty damn awesome. They got Gail Simone and David Marquez on the Uncanny X-Men. They got Jed MacKay, the current writer of Moon Knight, the current writer of Avengers. Yeah, they're on a lot of stuff. And Ryan Stigma on X-Men. And they have Eve L. Ewing and Carmen Carnero's Exceptional X-Men, which when I first heard these titles, I was like, wait, did they mean Al Ewing or Eve Ewing? Because there's two Ewings at Marvel currently. And once again, the X-Men are scattered and broken and back into another stay safe continuity set piece where the X-Men no longer have Krakoa to live on because, of course, and there's a prisoner called Prisoner X inside what was originally the Xavier Mansion Institute, the Xavier School for Gifted Children and whatnot. And yeah, I am not at all interested in this. Not only that, they've also announced that in the solicitation details for the upcoming X books, the X-Men by Jed MacKay will be Krakoa is no more, but the X-Men fight on from their new base in Alaska. The X-Men raise a flag of defiance. Join Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, formerly Oya, Magic, and Juggernaut as they assemble against new forces, battling for the destiny and philosophy of the mutant species. Mutant business is their business. And MacKay shared at this panel they were at during the South by Southwest event, saying platitude and whatnot, saying it's not just those three titles in this relaunch. There's a lot. My X-Men is where we'll see the first inklings of what the X-Men will look like in 2024. I'm very excited for you guys to see where it comes out. Not really. I'm not interested in it. If you look up at that lineup, there are a group of people that were well not suited and integrating into the world, and these books will see what that means and what it looks like going forward. Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone, who had been on hiatus from the comic book industry and then came back and is now doing this. The X-Men are now outlaws in the Uncanny X-Men books. Outlaw heroes once again, the X-Men embark on a new mission, making themselves at home in the Big Easy. The X-Men protect a world that hates and fears them and has tried to kill them for like 3 times already. Yeah, when this happened, okay, see, this is the thing I'm not happy about. It's the believability of this whole entire era. The moment Krakoa ended, you're kind of in this kind of perpetual state of me thinking, how do the mutants come back from this? Like, how could they ever just give up on the island nation and go back to the society that more or less did finally agree we need to kill them, that not even Captain America can convince them to stop hating? It's just, when we reach that point, it's just hard to believe it at this point. And this is saying a lot considering we're living in a Marvel universe filled with a Phoenix goddess running around. It's just that I just don't believe the X-Men should do this anymore. It's just something I've grown Like, the moment Krakoa was attacked and the moment the humans decided, yeah, we'll trust the Orcus guys who have a guy that just happens to look like a mutant, but he says he's a human, therefore we'll take his word for it, and whatnot. So, yeah. She said to the crowd, I think X-fans are special in what we identify with having something different about us, and you're going to feel that in this book. And what it means to have that thing about you that's different or exceptional, we go deep into the emotional part of that. And she talks about the artist saying how he's perfect artist for this book. He does amazing action and amazing character work, and he's really excited about getting into the characters appealing in this book. I knew from the very first panel that the book was going to be super exciting and gorgeous. He just knows how to knock it out of the park. And he does. He had good artwork during his Justice League run with Brian Michael Bendis. Also, this team will be consisting of Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Wolverine. Oh no, I wonder where that team's coming from. Man, if only there was a show coming out recently that just started airing on Disney Plus. No way. Right? And then there's Exceptional X-Men by Eve Ewing and Carmen Carnero, where Mutant Kind's two greatest teachers, Kate Pryde and Emma Frost. Kate Pryde has returned home to Chicago following the War of Orcus, thus proving once more humanity is once again allowed to treat the mutants as their you-know-what. And having stepped away from the world of mutantdom, she is nevertheless called back into action as she crosses paths with a trio of young mutants, Bronze, Axo, and Melee, who clearly need training and guidance, and unfortunately for Kate, Emma Frost thinks so as well. I mean, like, it's not like Emma Frost and Kate were finally getting along after all these years, and, you know, are common ground and actually act like sisters half the time. Wait. I always try to strike a chord between appealing to veteran comic fans and new readers. Okay, if you were appealing to new readers, you should just be risky with your status quo instead of being safe on it. But since so many people fell in love with the X-Men as teens, and this book is about a team of young folks, this feels especially important to me here, Eve Ewing said. Oh, and they also kept saying how longtime fans of Kitty Pryde can count on the kinds of adventures you expect from her as a classic favorite, and whatnot. And the editor of the X-Books, who is replacing Jordan D. White, saying the X-Men are fractured in the aftermath of the end of Krakoa, scattered across the globe with no central base of operation. Gee. What that means is in practice is that all three titles carry the name X-Men or Core X-Men, and they all center around one major aspect of what the team has been about at different points. This is very much by design. We want to field wide assortment of X titles with different styles and tones and approaches, and X-Men book for virtually any taste. Okay, so some people have been complaining about this, how the fact that they just announced 3 massive ongoing X-Men books, and then there's the current titles of books coming out later, but they haven't given details on who exactly are going to be what, and who is the writer, who's the artist. We're going to have Phoenix, X-Factor, Storm, NYX, X-Force, and Wolverine. And the thing that makes me more annoyed with this run is the fact that all the logos are all 90s related. Gee, I wonder why. It's not like there's a certain series on Disney Plus that just started. See, this is the thing that drives me up the wall. The fact that we are so obsessed trying to get back something that is past due. Look, I get when you try to nostalgia and whatnot and brand synergy as much as I've seen on Twitter, Gail Simone said that that brand synergy is not the quote main focus of what's causing this relaunch, even though I didn't expect her to tell the truth, because if she did, that would be a whole can of worms ready to be opened. Like, I'm not saying she's a liar, I'm just saying she's just not allowed to tell the truth, because this is definitely brand synergy at its most highest form, in my humble opinion. And the logos, the scatter of mutant kind, and Xavier disappearing from all the promotional material, which leads to assume he's Prisoner X because of what he did in Rise of the Powers of 10 so far, which, you know, since he's not in the animated series, that means we gotta get rid of him for a little bit until he comes back in the animated series, and then we can bring him back. That's my best estimate. And if he does come back, that means that his character will be coming back in the comics, because Marvel hates us. mostly the ones who wanted new changes and bold takes on the characters instead of play it safe. And they keep teasing new villains in the Mystery of Inmate X, even though I kind of already, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is who I know. It's probably Professor Xavier. That makes the most sense. And I'm trying to wonder, so when are the other characters what's going to happen with all the other mutant characters? Like I'm half expecting Emma Frost to go bad again because, well, she hasn't had that redemption arc in the 90s continuity of the animated series since X-Men 97 takes place on that. I'm also expecting Psylocke to go back to being split between Betsy Braddock and Koana. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name. I am apologizing for that because, oh, well, that was in the comics in the 90s and this is the 90s series and we never really got a chance to establish that, so we gotta be safe on that. Play it safe. Don't ever try new things. We gotta be safe. We gotta be careful. We need to be cautionary of everything we do. Like I said, once the X-Men once the Krakoan era reaches its last printed issue, which seems to be X-Men 35 by Gary Duggan and the team of the Krakoan era, I kind of wish Hickman wrote the last chapter in this because it was his creation of this era. I'm dropping all the X books. I have no purpose in getting interested in the new run. I don't care who's on the team. I don't care about the creative team. They're awesome. They're great artists and writers. But this is basically MCU-adjacent advertisement. This is a gigantic advertisement in my eyes. And people were already complaining about Cyclops' design, making him look younger. Though I kind of knew people were going to make that complaint because Ryan's artwork can be very stylized in some areas. And he can make characters look younger. In fact, the other thing I've been wondering is, why is Magic's black armor back? She had gold, and she was no longer the Queen of Limbo. She gave that to Madeline Pryor. I was like, wait, why is she back in her old classic outfit besides it being brand synergy protection? Wasn't she in her gold outfit to signify her evolution? Or is that too safe? That was too risky because gold outfits are too risky now. Even though Cyclops' outfit is not even like his 90s outfit that they're using in the cartoon. Yeah, see, I'm kind of annoyed and bittered about this whole thing, so I'm just gonna move on before I go even further in my insanity. So, yeah, moving on. Speaking of returning things from the olden days, we get Alien Romulus, a new trailer reviving the franchise with face huggers and more scares, with director Fede Alvarez wanting to restore the series' handmade roots, saying how there's a lot of mostly practical effects in this movie, and this movie takes place between the 57-year span between Alien and Aliens, and Ridley Scott is on the producer's chair instead of the director's chair. So they said Alien Romulus takes place 20 years after the first one, and for me, I don't see it as an upsetting the canon. It's something I take personal pleasure in doing, making sure it all tracks and is all part of the big Alien franchise story. I am curious though, since Ridley Scott is the producer, and James Cameron even had chats with the director about the script level. I have a question. So are we going to get any follow-up to Prometheus and Alien Covenant? Now, I know people hated both. I know there's a lot of people that hate those movies. I actually enjoyed them for what they were. Probably not the best thing to do the origin story of the aliens. You can have that argument that it's much scarier not knowing where they came from instead of establishing where they came from. Though I did like the horror emphasis they added to it, where it's the humans create machines and the machines create life in their own twisted vision, and the scariness of it all. I'm curious to know if they'll ever follow up on that, though I won't be surprised if they don't, because people really did not like Alien Covenant for a lot of reasons. Yeah. So, yeah. This is going to be a violent movie. I know that. So, Connie Booth, one of the chief architects of PlayStation's first-party studio system, is joining EA. Hooray! She's gonna go to that place. So, before her unexpected departure in 2023, is joining EA to help lead its studios in its ongoing restructure. With a statement coming out saying Connie spent more than 30 years helping to build Sony Interactive Entertainment's internal studios and is responsible for guiding developments for some of their biggest franchises, including Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and 2, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted, Ratchet & Clank, to name just a few. She is known for having created an incredible developer-first culture and the supporting creative vision while driving innovation. I have known Connie for many years and have always been impressed by her love and commitment to games. She especially cares about game developers, and she has an impeccable reputation within the development community and will undoubtedly have a positive impact on our games here at EA. So, here's the thing. It's EA, so it's still EA, so I won't be surprised if they somehow screwed this all up. It's, like I said, it's EA. So badly. Also, earlier last week, Star Wars The Acolyte finally got a trailer, and here's the best way to describe it. A lot of people hate it on YouTube. They have the like to dislike ratio is messed up. People hate it. People are complaining about the Killmonger hair. That seems to be the standard bearer now for every black character-based villain. Which, you could have that argument later about that. Because now it's like, oh god, why is the Killmonger hair back? I didn't even notice or care much because I'm just so desensitized with Star Wars at this point. And considering that even though the creator, director, producer, showrunner, Leslie Headland wants to ask the hard questions, it's not. It's gonna be incredibly safe. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, they said the showrunner came out and said how it'll challenge what we know about the Jedi and Sith. Oh no, they're all assholes in the end. They're hypocrites. They're fallen. Their religious society is all corrupted from within. I mean, yeah. So, here's the thing. I'm not mad about the show existing. I'm just not interested in much. Like, and the fact that I always keep hearing these crazy stories that Kathleen Kennedy is more involved in this project than any of the other Star Wars projects. When I kept hearing that, I was like, yeah, that's probably not a good sign, because I am not the biggest fan of Kathleen Kennedy, and I'm definitely not the fan of trusting Disney with this project, because whenever they try to introduce stuff to break everything, it breaks pretty badly. I am just not at all interested in the Acolyte. The High Republic era has been so and so with me. I have a bunch of their comics, I'll admit that, but I have just not been interested in this era of Star Wars. In fact, I pretty much have lost all complete interest, despite the praise I hear about Andor being very different from Star Wars, as in it's actually trying to be its own thing in the Star Wars universe, as opposed to play it safe. Like, I've seen The Bad Batch, then I dropped it after the first season, then I just never got interested back into it again, despite Dave Filoni on it, because it's all gonna lead to the misery-induced sequel trilogy. I'm still on that. I could watch all this optimism, but I'll be reminded, oh yeah, everything's gonna go wrong in about 20 years time, 30 years time. And then we'll be right back where we started, and the misery cycle will continue, especially since Rey seems to have taken the wrong lesson that what started the original trilogy was based on Obi-Wan lying to Rey ending the saga on a lie. And once the galaxy learns of her true origin, because they did that with Leia, then all hell's gonna break loose. Oh, but also, a cool thing I did know, though, is that they're gonna have the lightsaber whip from Legends. That thing that everyone's now praising suddenly because they never heard of this lightsaber whip, even though it existed with I'm trying to remember her name, Darth Lumia, the Dark Lady of the Sith. She trained Darth Titus, who is essentially Kylo Ren but more hardcore and psychotic and better and less rage-inducing me. And he's also the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia. Yeah. So yeah, I know I'm being like this. Also, the showrunner came out saying that the show absolutely could expand beyond season 1 and be more than that. Okay. Good luck with that. But anyways, on to a bit more positive news. The Teen Titans live-action movie is in development, with the Supergirl writer penning the script, indicating that this is indeed going to be part of the DC universe. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I heard this was announced, I just said, nah, I'm not taking optimism with it because it's David Zaslav and I despise him with a fiery passion. Like, I said this, until the day arrives a trailer is released, I won't consider it greenlit because David Zaslav can scrap it at any time. Heck, I've had friends who want this movie to happen, but they say David Zaslav being on a cancel everything tax write-off frenzy ever since he took charge of as CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, and I just wrote back saying exactly. David has made me be cautious in projects being greenlit because even completed works get the write-off. Heck, it's me saying until there's a trailer's pushing it because I wouldn't be surprised if he scrapped a project even after a trailer is shown. So yeah. We're on that. This is how my thing is at with this point. Until we get something of trailer footage or a proper release date that guarantees it, and there's no way David Zaslav can stop it, this movie is not, quote, greenlit with me. Now, I would certainly like to see Donna Troy, because I want that character more than anything to be pushed more in the DC universe stuff, especially in the comics. Just finally getting a Donna Troy in a movie would be interesting. Like, we had the Titan series, and then that ended, and I just lost interest after the first season, despite the fact that Donna Troy is in there. So I was like, yeah. And then I heard she got killed off, then came back, and we're back on this whole thing. And I think the other thing is that people will also say, like, wait, is this like... And people were confused at first because the animated Teen Titans series people thought was going to be adapted. Probably not. I would love to see a continuation of that series. And no, the other one doesn't count. Oh, man. But, yeah, I'm optimistic that hopefully David Zaslav doesn't screw this whole thing up and James Gunn is allowed to go carte blanche with it and take risks like he says he wants to do with the comics. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. So, craving nostalgia? Remember that, Dale? Those days? Nostalgia. Our most powerful, potent drug. So, for those who remember Halo 2, and I don't mean like Halo 2 on the Master Chief Collection, like Halo 2 OG days. Oh, man. Fans decided to get together to make a project called Insignia, a free, unofficial original Xbox Live replacement that is dedicated to reviving the online multiplayer component for original Xbox games. And recently they announced that it was launching a public beta to revive Halo 2 servers on March 15th. So they launched it, and the public beta includes all the old stuff: Rumble Pit, Double Team, Team Slayer, Team Skirmish, Team Training, Team Snipers, Team Hardcore, Team SWAT, Big Team Battle, Halo 2 Challenge, and they even caught the eye of Max Horberman, a former employee of Bungie who designed many of the multiplayer features in Halo 2 and 3, saying, "For all aspiring time travel is very cool. I'm curious how much functionality they'll be able to replicate, and if they can reach feature party in places. I wonder if they might enhance or add features in line with my original design specs." And it helps more that the fact that this is going to be the 20th anniversary of Halo 2. God damn, I'm old. And 14 years ago, 14 years ago, Microsoft pulled the plug on the original Xbox Live servers. Yeah. Insignia is a way to return to the olden days because not every single freaking game is going to be ported into a remastered state. So, understandably, people are trying to recapture the olden days with new technologies and new patches and whatnot. I welcome the challenge. I do, and I hope things work out for them. Also, after 12 years and over $669 million later, Star Citizen 1.0 is finally on the horizon, twinkling of it. Oh god. So, in a blog post, CIG, aka Cloud Imperium Games Chief Chris Roberts said, 2024 will see the launch of Star Citizen Alpha 4.0. Yep, it's still an alpha. And that developer is working to bring features developed for Squadron 42, the standalone story-based game starring the likes of Mark Hamill and Gillian Anderson, to the persistent universe portion of the game at an accelerated rate. This is all building up to 1.0 for Star Citizen, which Roberts said is what we consider the features and content set to represent commercial release. Of course. This means that the game is welcome to new players, stable and polished with enough gameplay and content to engage players continuously. In other words, it is no longer alpha or early access. However, there's still no release date or even release window, but they did say that for now, Star Citizen 1.0 twinkles on the horizon. And talked about the recent layoffs and controversial relocation plans that IGN reported on last month. Then they talked about all that stuff and the mass layoffs, the relocation, and basically everyone being pissed off. But Star Citizen, I have never played Star Citizen. I am not interested in Star Citizen. I don't care if they have Mark Hamill. I don't care if they revived Kevin Conroy to do some voice acting. Oh, speaking of Kevin Conroy, even though he passed away tragically a few years back and everyone hated the Arkham Batman being killed off the way he was, it's not the end yet. Mark Hamill is back as the Joker, and Kevin Conroy voices Batman one more time, and Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, which honestly is a fitting ending for these two iconic characters because it's the end of the DC animated multiverse. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Hamill tries to convince the higher-ups to be like, "Well, friend, this is it. The end of the world. It was nice what we had." And tries to make Batman laugh, but Batman's just not having it. And no, we're not talking about the other one. What they did. Oh man, that's funny. But, there was a game in development by Keyword Studios that tried to create a video game using only artificial intelligence. Well, I guess that means we avoid them as best we can. But they say it failed because the technology was unable to replace talent. Oh boy, I'm so shocked. Apparently, as reported by game developer Keywords Studio said that in its latest financial earnings report, they tried using the controversial technology to create a 2D game solely using Gen AI. The process lasted 6 months and highlighted where Gen AI has the potential to augment the game development process and where it lags behind. And I'm just going to say this is exactly what everyone's been warning Hollywood about, but they do not listen. Meanwhile, Saber Interactive is splitting from the Embracer Group, taking 38 video game projects with it, one of them being Star Wars The Old Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is now still delayed, which has been further delayed because of course. Along with that, this will now, Saber Interactive splitting from Embracer, along with its 3,000 staff. However, Aspire is currently on fire because of the failure that was Battlefront Collection. I do not know how you screw that up. Yeah. And yeah, so they took a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm curious as to know where things are going to go from here. Let's hope things work out. Apparently this big split that's going to be part of Beacon Interactive are all Saber branded studios, Nimble Giant, Digic, Saber Interactive itself, Fractured Byte, Sandbox Strategies, Madhead Games, Splitgate, New World Interactive, and 3D Realms. Wait, that's still a thing? Holy crap. I thought for sure that was dead. So yeah, like I mentioned, it also mentioned that Saber Interactive's Knights of the Old Republic game is still a long ways away. The boss of Embracer suggested when the split was occurring. And yeah, in December, the Disney's head of gaming insisted there's still a lot of demand for KOTOR. I'll leave it there, he concluded. So yeah, we're still on the on it. But there was reports saying that they actually had a working prototype where it was more RPG based like the original was, and Disney was apparently pissed off about that because they don't want to give players choice, essentially, which wouldn't surprise me if that was indeed the case, because this is Disney we're talking about. They don't want to take risks with Star Wars nowadays. Meanwhile, Assassin's Creed Jade reportedly delayed to 2025 amid Tencent pivot. So Reuters report that Tencent, the world's largest video game company, has redeployed hundreds of staff from the team developing Assassin's Creed Jade onto its recently launched party game Dreamstar. Assassin's Creed Jade is a mobile spin-off game set in ancient China that has been in development for the last 4 years, and I do not care because it's a mobile game and therefore it will be dead within 2 years. At least we'll have Assassin's Creed codenamed Red next year, which will take place in Japan. Also, remember the Never-Ending Story series? Yeah, apparently they're going to continue it after... How long has it been, actually, since the last one? I honestly have no idea. But, yeah, the Never-Ending Story is going to continue once again in a new live-action film adaptations by the production that are being produced by Seesaw Films. The company filmed the confirming plans to bring the new film versions of the beloved 1979 story to moviegoers in the future. No release date, crew, or cast has been announced yet. Saying today, we are unbelievably excited to announce that Seesaw Films is going into partnership with Michael N. Productions to develop and produce live-action films adapted from the Michael N's Never-Ending Story. And my reaction to that is, so is this going to be continuing the films, or are they going to basically be rebooted and tell a new story of the Never-Ending Story? We'll see. Meanwhile, the animated upcoming series Marvel Zombies is for sure TVMA, says the head of animation, who has to keep reminding people that it's going to be TVMA. Please believe us, we're definitely going to be taking risks. I'm like, to be fair, X-Men 97 did take a risk in pissing off a certain group of people who I am all for pissing off. And making people realize that the X-Men are woke. Always have been. So, yeah. Marvel Studios head of streaming television and animation, Brad Winderburn, just confirmed that the company's upcoming project, Marvel Zombies, is going to be pretty intense and will likely necessitate a TVMA rating. But they had to reveal in a recent interview with IGN about X-Men 97 when they were asking him Marvel might delve into the more growing genre of adult animation, saying in terms of more animation, yeah, we're making a Marvel zombie show right now that is pretty intense. That's for sure a TV MA show. And comparing it to X-Men 97, he added, and again, it's trying to honor the comics, and what was so great about the comics was that I was not pulling its punches. That's certainly what we're going for with the project also. And we did get kind of a sneak peek when, that whole biggest storyline going on in What If, episode 5 of season 1, where the Avengers got infected with a quantum virus that starts a full-on apocalypse. And leads to an ending on a suspenseful note where Wakanda has fallen and more of and zombie Thanos is coming. There's also reports that the anime show will feature zombie variations of heroes like Yelena, Kate Bishop, Red Guardian, Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, and Icarus in all their brain-hungry glory. So then who are going to be the heroes if all the other big heroes are zombies? Not only that, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is coming out, and they had a new trailer, which looked pretty awesome. I question why they have to make everything look the goddamn MCU-adjacent, because brand synergy or something like that. And they revealed the cast, the crew, and all this talent, featuring Captain America and Black Panther and 2 other characters that will fight the power of Hydra. So good luck with that. Also, Final Fantasy XVI is going to get a big DLC, The Rising Tide, Unleashing the Leviathan on April 18th. Following the release of Echoes of the Fallen last December with the 16's final DLC chapter, The Rising Tide, is set to release on April 18th, available individually or in discounted expansion packs on the PlayStation Store. The upcoming paid DLC, which takes place before the ending of the main game, includes plenty of fans to look forward to. Learn more about it, let's read. An unmarked letter arrives in the hideaway containing the most curious request. The dominant of the Leviathan, the long-lost Econ of Water, needs rescue. To heed this call, Clive and his companions must journey to Medusia, a hidden land under the blue sky, where they will uncover the tragic history of a forgotten people. Yeah, and they also feature new endgame battle content, special bonuses, new locations, threats, and a new Leviathan iconic ability set. Looks pretty awesome, and let's hope things are good. And there will also be a 1.30 update arriving the same day, which will be available for all Final Fantasy XVI players on April 18th. The downloadable update will add quality of life improvements for the full game, including return to a quest giver immediately with the quick complete function, icon updates for important character quests, a new skill set feature which allows players to save with up to 5 unique feats and ability sets, a new custom control type allows for freely customizable button layouts, tone correction, screen effects, and more added to photo mode, numerous orchestrion roles added, abilities and accessories adjusted for easier use. So there was that, and now we have, speaking of massive expansion packs, we are now given the tragic news to inform you that Larian Studios will not be making a Baldur's Gate 3 DLC, they will not be making expansion packs, and they will definitely not be making a Baldur's Gate 4. Yeah. Tragic. At the Game Developers Conference panel, Larian Studios founder Josh Selling of a bombshell, but revealing the developer isn't planning to release any expansions or DLC for Baldur's Gate 3 nor Baldur's Gate 4. Instead, at the panel, Larian plans to move away from Dungeons & Dragons entirely and do something new, leaving the IP in the publisher Wizards of the Coast's hand. Considering the massive success, even people calling it the game of the generation, with many fans assuming that a DLC or expansion would be on the way, Larian has released several major free patches, including among them a playable epilogue party. Larian has also commented about the possibility of doing DLC in the past. Speaking at Gamescom, senior product manager at Larian Studios said that they had discussions on doing more for Baldur's Gate 3, although they were focused on patches then. We'll carry on patching for a while, then we're all going to take a holiday, and then we'll figure out what we do next. But at the moment, we're generally having discussions, and what do we want to do more? We don't know what yet. Beyond that, Larry has never officially said more Baldur's Gate 3 was on the way. As previously mentioned, though, plenty of new content has been added to the hit RPG since last year's August launch, and it's much more massive game already that the physical edition comes in at 4 discs. The developers are currently running on a robust cross-platform mod support plan to accommodate additions for the community as well. So, yeah. No Baldur's Gate 3 DLC expansions, and no Baldur's Gate 4. They'll probably find a new, Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast will probably find a new developer to put on for Baldur's Gate 4, but yeah, considering this massive resurrection of the Baldur's Gate franchise, I will not be surprised if they try to find a new developer for this. They'll want to keep that momentum coming. Last but not least, House of the Dragon. Season 2 dropped its first 2 trailers, Team Green and Team Black. So they're trying to choose who is on their side, which side is which. And the trailers give out this idea that there are both sides on this side you should be choosing for. Alice claims that Viserys wanted Aegon to succeed him because it's not like there's been like 4 different Aegons at this point, but there's only been the only given number when there's a ruler named Aegon after Aegon the Conqueror. And they also came up with a recently released character poster which showed off the key players of both sides and war viewers that all must choose a side as Team Black and Team Green prepare to fight against each other about that begin with the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War. Here's my take. I am on team we are all screwed, because having 2 teams with massive dragons, who I must stress are ferocious, taming, powerful beasts that sometimes can't be tamed, is the equivalent of having nuclear bombs be launched left and right like it was nothing. Because let's be real, that's how it works with the dragons and whatnot. You might as well just start nuclear holocausts waiting to happen. But yeah, I'm excited for House of the Dragon Season 2. I'm curious to know what they're going to do, and those who have read the book know how all this is going to tragically go out as, because it's going to be crazy. But Alicent, Queen Alicent, oh boy, you're a moron sometimes when you think about it, because it's like you're telling us that Viserys wanted Aegon to be king after what just happened the day prior, and he could just been talking about other Aegons because there's more than one Aegon in the lore of the Targaryen household, and they don't bring that up as a possibility at all. I think even Alicent knows that this isn't true because, well, in the story when one of the people call her out for like, I refuse to believe this makes no sense, she has that look on her face that says, even I don't believe what he said was actually accurate. So really, it could be that she wants to believe it, she's trying to believe it, but in reality she doesn't actually believe it. And considering how the show's gonna go based on the book alone, it's gonna be messed up. Heck, I already know what's gonna happen just from the first teaser trailer they released, which showcases a certain blood and cheese. We know where that's gonna go, and here's the best way to describe it. It's gonna be the House of the Dragons version of the Red Wedding, except less people and much more violent for children under the age of 10. So yeah, House of the Dragon Season 2 arrives June 16th. Yes! And even George R. R. Martin says that the show will need at least 4 seasons just to do that portion of the book justice, which was Fire and Blood, which was a historical book. And HBO's head of drama has seemingly agreed that there's still a lot of material to cover. Heck, there's even rumors that Aegon the Conqueror is going to have his own House of the Dragon spin-off series, which will showcase his conquest of Westeros and him being a badass. I am curious if they're also doing a show for the Sea Snake from the House of the Dragon, but they're gonna have it be animated because doing it live action would be absolutely insane budget according to George R.R. Martin. So they're doing that. And as George R.R. Martin is focusing on House of the Dragon, Aegon the Conqueror, and the Sea Snake, all this, I must stress, is happening while he's not focusing on the Winds of Winter. And he's not even close to even starting on the Dream of Spring. He should just tell us how it ends. I know he said he was against that, but let's be real. George R.R. Martin is not going to live forever, and he probably has less time to do any of the two remaining books, despite how much time he's been given it. I think that he should just tell us how the story ends, because it's not good. It's probably never going to see the light of day, the last book. Even if Winds of Winter finishes in time, he would have to go back to the beginning just to do Dream of Spring, and he hasn't even written a single word for that. A single character font. A single note. He wants to do Winds of Winter first, and then he'll do Dream of Spring, and we'll never see that probably, so just tell us how it's going to end rather quickly. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. It turns out, when I was looking back on the counting of episodes, this is episode technically 124, but 78 of the rebooted series we're doing, or as I like to call it, a revamp or relaunch, where we're just from the original series that happened on my old Neo Reality Entertainment channel, which lasted for a good near 50 episodes, I believe. But yeah, finally got this episode done, and I'll see y'all again next time. Stay tuned for this outro, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
And that was our latest edition of Neo Reality Collective. Be sure to follow and support NRE creator Eric Brown on Twitter and YouTube. Check the links in the description below, and we'll see you all next time.